Wizards of the Coast have just done it again, and they've taken a decision that has caused a major scandal, rocking the entire Dungeons & Dragons and role-playing game community. But this time, not only is the entire RPG community majorly pissed off, but D&D YouTubers are especially outraged, as Hasbro have gone after not only their own employees, but content creators as well. And as a result, many have now publicly attacked Hasbro in response. And yet, that isn't even the worst part for the company, or even for us, as this scandal is part of a larger scheme of Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast and their plans for Dungeons & Dragons. Plans that are far darker than anyone could have foreseen. And even worse, this will all change Dungeons & Dragons and the entire role-playing game hobby forever. In a bad way. In a, like, not good, you know? Not like you get $1 million if you roleplay. It's more like barbed wire beds from now on. I hope you like eating screws. So, what the hell is going on? Well, last year, Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast were lambasted online for firing over 1,000 employees just before Christmas. Even saying that statement feels insane. Needless to say, this decision was condemned pretty much by every single person that isn't a greaser in a Stephen King novel. They're always the baddies, is my point. And I covered that story on this channel when it happened, and I condemned it too, because it was duplicitous, abhorrent, and also I don't have the physical strength to bully children, so I could never really be a minor villain in a Stephen King novel. Maybe I ought to buy a flick knife. Yeah, then I'll get respect. But the ironic part is that as we now say goodbye to Halloween and approach Christmas, yet again, Hasbro are up to their old tricks. It seems like someone over there is obsessed with trying to generate as much misery as possible for Christmas, because that is the goal of every single children's toy company, right? Misery. I mean, how else do you explain Monopoly? So Hasbro have dutifully maintained this tradition and fired a whole bunch of employees again. But the difference this time is that one specific Wizards of the Coast employee who was fired has especially shocked the community, especially Dungeons & Dragons content creators. Which, I mean, look at it from our perspective. This recent Hasbro decision makes no sense at all. So right now, Hasbro are at a time when they and Wizards of the Coast are facing an unprecedented amount of criticism, scrutiny, outrage, and scandal. But they have just decided to fire the one person who has single-handedly maintained the goodwill of massive creators like Ginny D, Dungeon Dudes, Deal Kingsmill, Bob the World Builder, Pointy Hat, and probably more. These creators who have literally millions of followers, ranging from the most dedicated RPG enthusiasts of the deeply grit-based hardcore to the most accent-butchering casual fans. And I have to say that as a content creator, I am absolutely shocked myself, because the person fired was the person at Hasbro in charge of creator relations, a person called Dixon Dubois. And not because it secretly turned out that they had been watching my videos and found all the secret messages I leave in here, as well as my not-so-secret messages about how you can steal people. And remember to subscribe to the channel right now if you want your RPG news sprinkled in with man-catching advice and historical fun facts like Hasbro's documented use of Irish slave labour in the production of Mousetrap. And people say I've got a chip on my shoulder. I wonder why. But in this case, it seems like the firing of Dixon is because of nothing that Dixon did themselves. It was instead because, well, Hasbro kind of wanted a sacrifice or something. And look, don't get me wrong, I can get behind a human sacrifice or two. I'm all for appeasing our dark masters, but in my book, you do your sacrificing with a ritual dagger, not with a layoff, especially in this case, because it's just really weird. Dixon was actually a major figure in the D&D content creator community. He was an employee at Hasbro who was admittedly a behind-the-scenes guy, but he was a major force in repairing the damage of the OGL scandal with content creators. He was helping to rebuild trust in the community, and he was the liaison between YouTubers, podcasters, online influencers, and Hasbro. And during the big content creator summit held after the OGL scandal, Dixon was a massive advocate within Hasbro for, as game designer Daniel Kwan put it, considered a positive change. He was someone who had attained folk hero status to the creator communities. So this decision to burn bridges with content creators might have been one of the biggest mistakes that Hasbro could have made. And it seems to make literally no sense at all, and as a result, content creators are now on the warpath. So why did they do it? Well, there is actually a dark, secret reason why this happened. Like why the people who go into my attic just never come back. And just like my attic night gnome problem, what this signifies is truly terrifying and might just be the worst news in Dungeons and Dragons history. Worse even than having to cook your own meal. Because hey, do you know what you need? Food! That's right, without it, you'll die. Here's my problem though. I hate cooking food, but I'm worried that I'll be poisoned by the man that I keep in my basement who I force to cook my meals. What a pickle! Luckily, today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh. HelloFresh are America's #1 meal kit service. They deliver everything you need to create a delicious and nutritious dinner from scratch straight to your door. And they feature an extended menu that includes 50+ dinner options. Fresh and pre-portioned ingredients means that there's no hassle getting your daily meals anymore. Plus, no needing to leave the house to shop either, so you'll never have to talk to your neighbors again. Take that, nosy Nigel! Customize your delivery every week and save money by only paying for what you need. Plus, there's a ton of variety and seasonal menus, so get ready to eat some exotic food like pumpkins and tacos. Hey, I'm Irish. All food is exotic to me. Oh, and did I forget to mention, if you sign up with HelloFresh right now, you'll get free breakfast for life. That's right, free breakfast for life. So support the channel and click the link in the description, or simply use my code DiscourseNove10 and get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active if you're in the US. Outside the US, the local discount will apply. Every sign up directly supports this channel, so thanks for sponsoring today's video, HelloFresh. Okay, so needless to say, there has been a ton of content creators outraged and shocked at this firing, and many took to Twitter and to YouTube to pay commiserations to Dixon and publicly attack Hasbro over their decision. And I would like to officially add my voice to the chorus. Just assume I'm always in the background, like in all those images of the JFK assassination. And no, I have no idea how I got back to 1963, but I guess I'll find out in time. But needless to say, Hasbro have definitely f***ed up here. I mean, they've pissed off Bob the World Builder. Bob! The guy who's basically the earnestness of Dale Cooper mixed with the positive demeanor of Fred Rogers. Nothing bad happened with Fred, right? I mean, he's still good. He wasn't involved in like a child snatching cult or anything that I don't know about. You just don't know anymore, do ya? And all the content creators that Dixon has worked with have nothing but lovely things to say. And in fact, I have heard that many were only persuaded to keep working with Hasbro at all after the OGL scandal because of the relationship that Dixon had managed to cultivate with them. So this definitely feels like a major mistake on Hasbro's part. I mean, the last year has pretty much been an endless supply of Hasbro scandal after Hasbro scandal, like a cavalcade of clowns infinitely piling out of a tiny car, but in no man's land during World War I. It's been really messy. And now Hasbro have really strained their relationship with the D&D and RPG community as a result. At least strained is the word that my therapist would use, but they also describe the horrific nightmares where I piss myself awake in fear every morning as improvement. So I think I just need a new therapist. Or pills. Just more pills. I'll take pills. I mean, pills have basically replaced doctors now, right? Just give me more pills. So why would Hasbro do this? Why have they laid off their only content creator guy, who is the only reason the D&D YouTube isn't currently on fire? Well, it's certainly not because Dixon kept texting his boss pictures of pregnant Sonic. I mean, what are the odds that 2 people would lose their job because of that? And the official answer that Hasbro gave is because of corporate restructuring to fuel growth and innovation, and because they want to streamline operations. So they've laid off a bunch of people, Dixon included, and they've moved some other people into new job roles and positions, and this sounds really boring, like who cares? But actually, when you look at the changes to the roles and positions that Hasbro have actually made, there's a really scary reveal, because the ultimate result of this restructure, as Chris Cox, CEO of Hasbro, has said, and Toy Book reported, and I know that it sounds like I'm sourcing Barney the Dinosaur here, but Toy Book is actually a legit trade magazine. Hasbro have gone all in on digital, direct, and technology-assisted innovation for Dungeons & Dragons in 2025. Or, in other words, this corporate shakeup is transforming Hasbro into a digital-focused company. And this whole new growth and innovation thing they're talking about is all about pushing Dungeons & Dragons and other Hasbro properties into the digital space. And I guess that necessitates getting rid of the one guy who was feeding back all the criticism from content creators about those changes, as well as all the other problems. Yeah, that seems like a bad idea to me. So if you're someone that isn't particularly looking forward to being able to play a Transformer skin in the new digital D&D, then yeah, this new shakeup of Hasbro isn't exactly exciting. Maybe it's very fucking concerning, to put it mildly, but even worse than that, the real dark truth of this layoff is that it ultimately reveals, it signals what Hasbro's attitude towards the RPG community is going to be in the future. I mean, no wonder the D&D YouTubers are totally pissed off, because losing Dixon signals that Hasbro no longer care about the opinion of the RPG scene, will no longer acquiesce to community demand, and really, they just don't value the relationship that Dixon had been single-handedly maintaining with content creators as ambassadors for the community. Ultimately, this is an attack on D&D YouTubers, D&D content creators, and the D&D community overall. And even worse, unfortunately, this is just the first step in a major change over at Hasbro Wizards. Like in an Elder Scrolls game when you accidentally kill a major quest NPC and sever the threads of fate and just think, fuck it, now I can murder all the orphans, I fucked up the main quest line anyway. So that's what we can look forward to from Hasbro Wizards going forward. More dead orphans, because their attitude will be different now. If you thought that Hasbro didn't care before, I think the next few months are going to be insane. And this is all before we look even closer at the new restructure, because while this wasn't announced, if you read between the lines of the Hasbro statement on this, the end result of it is that Wizards of the Coast, the company that actually, you know, makes Dungeons & Dragons, is being absorbed even deeper into the Hasbro corporate machine. Rules like toys and Wizards of the Coast are being pulled together, Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming is now being consolidated. And honestly, at this stage, it is looking like Wizards of the Coast are going to be directly absorbed into Hasbro proper. I mean, since Cynthia Williams, the former president of Wizards of the Coast, left the company, Hasbro Wizards has felt less like Hasbro Wizards and more like, well, just Hasbro. And after this change, I think we're finally there officially. The company is now all unified into one nightmare behemoth. Take that with the fact that they've gotten rid of the community guy who is meant to be enacting positive change as a result of feedback from the D&D community, that all the new rules are focused on digitization, and that Hasbro are now openly trying to push out third parties like local game stores from supplying Dungeons & Dragons in favor of all the profit that can come from their focus on direct sales, and this speaks to a very dark future for Dungeons & Dragons and RPGs going forward. But as this screaming meme continues, I will follow the story, so subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up. And support me on Patreon, as my videos are increasingly being demonetized by YouTube because, I don't know, YouTube isn't telling me. So, you know, if you do, you'll get bonus and ad-free videos, and you'll get to hang out with me on live streams and Discord, and even give me advice that I will follow, like how I was convinced to dress as a droid for my annual Halloween bash this year, and now I'm banned from Burger King for life. That was bad advice, you guys. So thanks to my patrons, especially CryptoKev, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.